you. Can we get a little thumbs up? Everyone can hear us okay? It feels weird speaking into headphones.
Can't hear ourselves.
Yeah,
also just about hear each other here.
Yeah, so hang out with us. We'll let everyone get settled in for a second. But yeah, I'm Rafe Oakes. I work for Captiv8. We are influencer marketing agency and platform. This is Brandon. Give a little intro there.
Hey guys, I'm BrandonB. I'm very lucky I get to wear two hats. On one side, I'm a creator. Have the incredible opportunity of running this awesome visual effects page. It's got 20 million followers across platforms now, which is just insane. But also get to run my very own digital studio, creating awesome production assets with, thankfully, some of the coolest brands around the world.
Right. So we got kind of a two-part thing today. And in 15 minutes, I bet you all think that's a little crazy. But what we're going to do today is hear from Brandon about how he continuously makes his content deliver across all social platforms. But what I really want you to take away from today is think about how Brandon, when he speaks about everything, all the aspects of how close he is to his campaign data, how close he is to how he feels the audience feedback is, all of these elements, and put that into the holistic view of how you all do your own creator marketing. What I want you to take away from this is not industry best practices, which are total bullshit anyway. We all know how to add hashtag ad and stuff. We want to be able to take this away and say, I have a feeling about how my creator marketing should be working, and I can back that up with data and all these other things because I'm close to it. But that's the key takeaway. And you get a load of value from hearing about one of the best in the business who I've had the pleasure to work with about how to make great content. Brandon, can I start you off there?
Let's do it. Wow. What an incredible intro. So, guys, hello. Thank you. So, to kick things off, the interesting thing when I look at content creation is how there's this beautiful art and this sort of middle point between creativity and data. And where we get our best results and we see those absolutely flying numbers and huge campaigns is when you work out that perfect balance between the two. Now, half of my brain is so creative-led, and I love having these whimsical, artsy-fartsy ideas and go out there, turn a cloud into cotton candy and be done with it. And then the other half of my brain is obsessed with data, and that's where Rafe and I really get on. The data side is so interesting because it takes the ego out of creativity. We no longer need to sit there and buy into ideas because the loudest voice in the room said so. We can actually take a step back and look at our content holistically and see exactly whether we've made the right or wrong decision. So, how does this actually work in practice? So when we create our content, we have separate buckets that each of our content pillars go into. The first is what we call our MVP, minimum viable product. Whenever we start with a new creative, new concept, or new idea, it sits into our MVP bucket. What that essentially means is we are building the simplest, cheapest, and quickest version of an idea that we'd be happy to post. This is just to capture the data we need. Our MVP bracket sits between 5 and 10 million. Anytime an MVP video that we post and upload gets over that 5 million mark, it goes into another bucket we call our outliers. Then, once we work with incredible brands and they submit a brief to us, we then go through our massive outliers package and we go, great, which creative idea that we've tested at a very small scale, haven't injected real budget into, worked better than it should have for its original post. We go through, we find a specific video, we match it with the right brand, and that's when we inject the real budgets into it. We then, probably at that point, 10x what we originally spent on the initial video, actually spend anywhere between 3 to 6 weeks building, creating the content. And that's how we've had some of our highest performing campaigns of all time. My favorite example of it, we did an awesome campaign for Sony for Spider-Man. We created a fun video initially of me in my bedroom shooting some webs in the mirror. The video did incredible, got 5 million views. When this campaign came in, we said, great, how do we make it bigger and better? Let's jump off a building in Canary Wharf, swing through the streets, and crash into a Daily Bugle newsstand. That video hit an absolutely staggering 100 million views in its first 5 days.
I love it. So talk to me about organic versus ads. I feel like whenever I come across your page, I'm like, how are his ads still getting so many views? How are you balancing that and making sure that people know it's an ad, but that they still have that entertainment factor where they want to watch it still?
I think the key for influencer marketing is taking the whole ad aspect out of it and remembering the reason why people are on social media. No one is watching digital and social content because they want to be served ads. Everyone is consuming content because they want to be entertained. They're sitting on the bus or they're going on their train journey home and they're looking for that escapism to take them out of reality. So as advertisers, marketers, and creatives, we need to understand that at its very core. And when we go into new projects with new briefs, we really need to sit there and think, how do we attack this from an entertainment standpoint first? If our entire creative leads from, would I want to watch this video if it wasn't an advert? And unless the answer to that question is yes, then you know it's going to fail before you've started.
I love it. I love it. Now, because it's only 15 minutes, so we're going to jump straight into it, mate. How are you going about the data parts? Are you looking at the stuff on your channels? I mean, look, the views are pretty obvious, but what other feedback are you trying to get from your channel's analytics that then impact your decisions moving forward?
So I think when I look into data and sort of take these big dive deeps, I have two separate navigation paths that I go down. The first is looking at our own content and looking at past successes. So that would be going through our MVP buckets. I kind of break down videos in two main specific areas. From spending a lot of time with Google and Meta engineers and sort of the algorithm people behind the scene, the two things they really, really care about is one, audience retention, and two, swipe away rate. Audience retention is essentially telling the platform that people want to stay on your video for as long as possible. As creators and even marketers and advertisers, we need to understand why these social media platforms exist, and it's so, so simple. Social media platforms' only objective and goal is to keep users on the platform as long as possible to serve them as many ads as possible. That simple.
So if we,
I know, it's great. But if we're aware of the use of the platforms, then we understand what our role within it is. If we know they're trying to keep people on the platform as long as possible, then it's simple. We just need to keep people on our content for as long as possible. So the first metric is that retention rate. Can we get people to stay on our video to that 100% mark? Our channel average is sitting at 123% across all of our content. So the average person watched one of our videos 1.23 times over across the 500 million views we do a month. Then the other side of the spectrum is looking out at the market, looking at the industry. What are other people creating? Now, when I used to start doing this back when I was in my bedroom on my own, I did this a very manual and boring way of scouring the internet, saving links of the highest performing content that I could find, putting it to the side and trying to sort of reverse engineer how and why these videos are blowing up. Now we live in a world where there have been so many awesome tech startups where we're able to use so many incredible platforms to find these huge videos that are popping off. Now we've got our API set up, so we actually get notified when specific videos hit over a certain amount of views within a threshold, so our entire team is alerted and made aware of it. That way we can combine the industry's highest performing content with our highest performing content, so we can keep growing, scaling, and making better videos day in, day out.
Now, what do you do when you get these notifications? Is it reactionary, where you're like, let's do something along these lines for the next video? Is it something that kind of ebbs and flows in terms of that goes away? Or, yeah, give me a little insight there.
Yeah, so I think that's where the whole data and creativity come into a perfect balance. I think the data supported us with, hey, here is a really strong video that's working well in the industry. And at that point, it comes into the creative team. Are we creatively inspired by whatever is working? If it's a trend, is it a high-performing video? If we are creatively inspired, then we actually jump into the writer's room and start developing and building it out. I think if we ever got to a point in our studio where the content that we create is purely led, just looking at the industry and matching where the move is going, then at that point we just become a copy and paste and our content becomes fatigued and boring.
Yeah. I
think the really important thing is just making sure at the end of the day, even though everything that we do is backed up by data, it still needs to creatively inspire us in order for us to actually start creating the content.
And I honestly think that is the beautiful part about data and creativity coming together. And that is really what I'm talking about of what we want you to all take away from today. We want everyone to be able to walk away from this and say, it's a feeling that I'm trying to possess with my creator marketing that allows me to take the data and the creativity and blend it into one. So I don't know. Brandon never knows if these things are going to work next, but he has a good feeling that that is what his audience will like. And when thinking about your own creator marketing as a holistic effort, say you're running 100, 200 creators over the term of a year, think about what are you doing to build, to understand what is going to work for that. And in order to do that, you need to be close to your creativity and you need to own your data. And I think that as we're coming into a spot with creator marketing where it's not just campaign by campaign anymore, sure, this brand has an extra 100K, we'll do this little splashy thing. Now we're coming out of a place where, a beautiful place, where we're now going to be one of the biggest stages at these kind of events. We're going to be having some of the bigger budgets, which I think we can all agree that we want, right? Those budgets mean that we're going to have to learn and show our impact year after year, not just a good campaign. And to do that, we can't start over every single campaign. So the advice that I'd like you all to think about, from a brand point of view, how many times removed are you from your creator partnerships? Is it a agency, then a influencer agency, then talent manager, then creator? Think about that, then how can you bring those steps closer together? And if you're an agency, no more is it just about, can you produce the best work? It's not just about the best work on a single person. It's about how can you produce the best work for your client, and that comes with learning about them. Create that playbook for them. Make buckets. Learn these things that Brandon is doing as well, and bring that into your own creator efforts. And I really believe that that's how we're going to take the next step in influencer marketing as a whole.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. I think you've hit the nail on the head. And I think everything about this, and it's so easy to sort of have these new marketing campaigns, have these like large sort of, you're looking to work with anywhere from 10 to 100 different creators, submit a very generic brief and go create content and then be unsatisfied with the results. Yeah. I think to really nail and hone in on those incredible results, you need to look at the whole campaign as how are we looking at our entire funnel and breaking out which creators we're using for each specific part of the process. For example, the amount of times we've had briefs come in from different brands and they go, hey, we're working on a new campaign. We want you to get 1 billion views on your video. We also want you to educate your audience about our product, but then we want a conversion campaign at the end of the video and we want you to talk down the lens and go, great, everyone go to the link in my bio and buy it now. It's crazy. We never before have we looked at any other medium across advertising and gone, great, we're just going to use one singular piece of content to act as an entire funnel. Why does it change for influencer marketing? It's simple. It doesn't. The key to really incredible results is working out which creators you're using for which sections of your funnels. I know for us personally, the content that we create, there's barely any speaking in it because we want it to be as global as possible, so it doesn't matter your age, gender, language, everyone can understand our content. So for an awareness campaign, we're incredible. For an educational piece or something where we're actually looking to convert a user base, as I don't speak to my audience straight directly down to the lens, I wouldn't be able to then convert them and get them to click a link in my bio without that communication. So it's really having a deep understanding of every creator you're using and where they fit in across that journey.
I love it. And sitting next to you here today, I would definitely convert if you spoke down the lens to me, let me tell you.
Hey, maybe I need to change my strategy.
But I think that's an amazing thing about it, that you would think that would work, but it doesn't. And then you say, great, we're just going to put that into the strategy of how we do creator marketing. I think it's fantastic. I want to touch on one more thing when it comes to the data. I want you to talk us through. Has there ever been a time where the channel had a lull, and you had to kind of break out of that, or any time where your creativity you couldn't figure out, like what can creators and marketers and stuff use in order to grasp what is working for them? Are there any steps that you would recommend in order for them to get there?
I love this question. Everyone, I'm going to give you the world's biggest cheat code here. The crazy thing about content creation is we always feel like every time we make a new video and upload a new post, we've got to reinvent the wheel and start again from scratch. When actually, our historical library of videos we've already produced, that is our data set that we can use to learn about what does and doesn't work. So the biggest key to really cracking that continuous motion of constantly uploading content is building out formats. Every time we look at a new creative and start making a new video, we go, is this something that we could build on and continue to build formats of? Now, when initially I started thinking about building formats across our channels, the first thing I thought is, that feels kind of lazy. But then we started doing it, and we started seeing that the results from our initial video onto the second and third, views would multiply. And actually what we start to see happen is it gives our audiences and our fan bases something more than just yourself to love about your content. Suddenly, you get different groups within your audience and communities going, hey, I love you for the bath bomb series that we create, or I love you guys for the fireworks series that you create. And there are so many different branches within that we can then go off. So what ends up happening is we create these sort of sub-communities within our fandom that love the specific areas even more, which give you those constant ideas to keep creating and making bigger and better content.
I love that. So now we're not just talking about your audiences, they're all the same person. It's tiny little niches within it that you can go to.
Exactly.
Absolutely love that.
And then I think that's also something to look at for all of us is like, when we're creating our content, we all get fatigued when we start looking at the same videos over and over again. The idea is we want to try and jump into as many different formats as possible. Right now, we've probably got 20 different active formats that we're still working on and still adding more episodes to. So the idea is you want to keep sort of changing between them so no one gets bored of watching the same thing, but when they do see the videos come back around, they're super excited by them because they love the previous videos.
I love it. I love it. Well, everyone, I know today we really presented you with more of an opportunity of how you can think about your creator marketing and not necessarily your solution. If we had another 15 minutes, maybe we could go into that. But I think we'll end with saying that if we'll be on the side, you can come speak to us about how to do that. But the reality is we'll have no idea how to make creator marketing work for you, but we can help you build the infrastructure so that you can answer that question for yourself, and that's how you'll have impact.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.